cute. I am.
I went through articles. I was like, why are fat people allowed to exist? And then I took the questions and I flipped them.
So you're doing the intro, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what to do with my hands. Why is it always a question of my hands?
Do you need pockets?
I do need pockets. I was looking to see if I had pockets.
Women going like this is just a silent scream for pockets.
Yeah.
Hi, that's Carleigh, and I'm Michelle, and we're best friends. And we also live in plus-size bodies.
I feel like the heart behind our channel is that we're best friends, obviously. We're plus size, and we're just trying to live our lives. And we wanted to share that because that's not something that we see a lot of in the mainstream media and even just on YouTube. We know that there's been a lot of situations in our lives where our body size has affected what we can do or what we think we can do, what we want to do, what we feel comfortable doing, what other people think we can do. And we're not going to stop living our lives because of the size of our stomachs or our ass. So how do we feel confident in a world that doesn't want us to be confident?
Truth be told, I don't always feel confident. Definitely hills and valleys when it comes to confidence. I feel like that might be true for a lot of people. I mean,
yeah, I think no matter what size your body is, you go through phases of being more confident, less confident, and all that.
I think I feel more confident when I have clothes that fit me properly and that look nice. And I'm not just wearing something that could be explained as like a muumuu. Also, if it has pockets, that just brings extra joy into my life.
I think that brings extra joy into any woman's life.
That's true.
Yeah, I would agree that the hills and valleys part. I found that my confidence really came from, this is going to sound so cliched, but discovering who I am. It wasn't until I moved to England in January of 2017 that I really started to figure out myself. And I think that it was because I had to, right? Like I was living in another country by myself, didn't know a soul when I moved there. Luckily, about a month after I moved there, I met a couple of other Canadian girls who were also teaching there, like through my agency. So I had some friends, but they weren't my lifelong friends. They weren't my bestie. They weren't the people that I was comfortable with. And I really had to put myself out there and just be like, well, I'm either going to sit on my couch and do nothing for the entire time that I live here, or I'm going to go out and I'm going to do things and I'm going to meet people. And I think it was, and a few months after, I think every video we have, I'm going to end up talking about Catherine Ryan.
Yeah.
But a few months after I moved there is when I saw Catherine Ryan stand up for the first time. And we've mentioned this phrase before, but ran out of F's to give, and I was like, holy crap, actually that makes sense. And for some reason that just resonated with me, like, this doesn't deserve my thoughts, this doesn't deserve my frustrations. And it just helped me to build my confidence in myself and who I am and who I was as a person and not as a body. So I guess for me, building confidence in myself as a plus size person actually has nothing to do with being plus size. And it has 100% to do with the internal.
How do we practice plus size positivity or practice body positivity in our daily lives? I think just showing up. Just not cowering and not allowing myself to be invisible.
I know body positivity is a phrase right now that's been kind of co-opted, but it's also something that at the moment is on a downward trend.
Yeah.
People don't like the idea of body positivity anymore.
No. People who are considered socially normative
Mm-hmm.
are taking body positivity and being like, look how many calories I cut today, and
Mm-hmm.
now my body is like this, and it's like, just be like, you know what, I look good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of it. Like,
yeah, it doesn't matter what size you are. Body positivity is about everybody.
mm-hmm.
And it's about people who are straight size feeling confident in their bodies, and it's about people who are mid-size and plus size feeling
Mm-hmm.
confident in their body. And one of the ways that I guess practice body positivity in my life every day is trying to remember that about everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Because body positivity isn't just about me. It's not just about us.
Mm-hmm.
It's about what everybody else around me is experiencing too.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm at work, when I'm at the mall, who goes to the mall anymore, but when I'm walking around outside, you know, recognizing that most likely everybody else that I'm encountering is also experiencing the same sort of negative self-talk and the confidence issues that I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also probably trying to be more confident.
Yeah.
So it's just about a practice of remembering that you're not alone, and also not being selfish about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you actually feel good in your body? For me, right now, today, I don't feel good. I have put on, for me, what I consider quite an amount of weight over the last year. And I feel like it was a quick, like, kind of snuck up on me thing. Like, it was like, okay, one day I feel good, and then the next day I don't feel good. And it's like, what the heck is going on, right? So not only do I not feel well, but it's like scary, because it's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, long and short of it is, right now, today, I don't feel good.
And does that affect your confidence?
Sometimes, especially, well, when we were at, has Fergus come out yet?
Yeah.
Okay, when we were in Fergus, like, I was embarrassed because I felt like I had to sit down every 5 minutes and take a break because my feet were killing me. Mind you, I wore a new pair of shoes for the first time that day, which really was not the best idea. So there was a lot of that. But
you also probably didn't anticipate a 5-mile walk from our parking spot uphill on the side of a highway to the festival.
Yeah, did not anticipate that either, but I feel like even 2 years ago, that wouldn't have been an issue for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And so my story is a little bit of an opposite of yours. Like, when I was living in England, I don't know how, because I walked everywhere, but I put on quite a bit of weight. And I know when Michelle came to visit in 2018, I was having like back pain, like, because that's what happens when I put on weight. My back gets really sore.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having a lot of back pain, and whenever I would go anywhere, I would have to sit down. And so it was the same sort of idea. Like, I was always embarrassed because I was always having to take a break, and I was always having to sit down, and it was just one of those things that I've been in her shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I know the feeling, but I also know that, like, while I felt embarrassed for her, I'm like, you shouldn't be embarrassed. It's fine. Like,
yeah.
I totally understand. But so since I was diagnosed with diabetes in June, the meds that I was put on, I have lost weight. Now, I had lost some weight on my own from like January to June, and then the meds I have lost, obviously even more weight.
Yeah.
And there is a part of me that's like feels guilty about that for some reason. And I'm not sure why. I haven't worked through those emotions yet, but I know that right now I do feel good in my body, because my body is, like, I think at this point I'm 40 pounds lighter than I was in January. So 40 pounds makes a huge difference. But that's also not to say, like, I was losing weight by doing intuitive eating, which was hard for me because I have oral allergy syndrome, which is like an allergy to raw fruits and vegetables. And the fruits and vegetables that I'm allergic to, there are some that I can eat, some that I can't, but also it's even more complex because I can eat some vegetables if they're grown in one area of the world, but ones that are grown in a different area, I can't. So it makes it very hard for me to eat raw fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody says to me, oh, you're fat, eat a salad, say, I can't, I'm allergic, because I don't know where salads are coming from necessarily, right? I don't know where that lettuce was grown. I don't know where that strawberry came from. So it's incredibly hard for me to lose weight based on eating a salad.
Yeah.
But so what I've been trying to do over the last, like, I think I'd started it probably around the beginning of 2021. Yeah, probably around January 2021, I started doing that. And it was just sort of whatever I was craving, I would eat. And I don't know, I've never really looked into proper intuitive eating, but it's what I understand intuitive eating to be. Because I found myself craving things like raspberries, which was something I'd always kind of avoided because I knew that in the past they had bothered me. But I would eat raspberries and I would be fine. So I started doing that a little more. If my body is craving it, I figured, then I probably needed something that was in it, and it probably wasn't going to hurt me. So I started to do that a little more, and that's how I started to discover some other fruits and vegetables that I was actually able to eat, which is what then helped my body to regulate.
Yeah.
The other issue I had was the diabetes, but we're going to talk about that later.
Yeah.
So all that to say, you're going to have a lot of editing out to do.
Yeah.
All that to say, I feel pretty good in my body right now because it's changing, but you don't need to change your body to feel good.
No.
Like if you're my size, if you're bigger than me, smaller than me, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you feel good, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, if I were this size and I felt fine, like, whatever, I really don't care. But it's the fact that I don't feel good that it's like, okay, now what? Like, how do I fix this? Because I don't feel good.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the main thing.
One of the ways that I got involved in the sort of body positive movement was actually through Instagram. I forget who the first person that I found was. I think it was Carleigh Michelle, who is a plus size model. And through her, I started to discover that, oh, there are other fat people who use Instagram. Wow, that's weird. And so I actually started to discover that there were people who looked like me on Instagram. That was around the same time that I was living in England at that time. And I was also sort of working on my own personal confidence. And I started seeing more, fat people in my world. And it also sort of brought me to thinking about plus size as a phrase, because when you look at some of these people who are considered plus size models, they actually don't wear plus sizes.
No.
They wear mid sizes.
Yeah.
So they're usually around a size, or even straight sizes. They're usually around a size 10 to 14, depending on what brand it is you're looking at. And I just really can't get behind it.
No.
I don't know what the companies what their mindset is. Is it that they think that clothes look better on a skinnier body, so they're going to get the smallest body that they can? That's not small. I don't know.
Yeah. I will say, I think Old Navy has been a leader in being inclusive, and their models are bigger people. So it's nice to see that happening, but like social media stuff, like plus size models, I agree with you. Like, it's just, I don't see me. When it comes down to it, I just don't see me. And it's like, you don't know how I feel. I don't know how else to explain it.
There's no way to connect with them, because while they are in a bigger body than regular models, they're not in a bigger body. So we don't actually get to see what the clothes would look like on our size body. One of the people that I follow on Instagram, her name is Maddie, I'm so bad with how to say names. Her name is Maddie Gutierrez. I think that's how you say it. And she is a similar shape to me, which is why I follow her, because I have a bigger belly. Michelle doesn't have that. So clothes look completely different on us.
Yeah.
It is crazy how different the same clothes could look on us. That's a video we should do one time.
I think so. Moving on.
So seeing her, who has the same shaped body as me, putting clothes on, I'm like, oh, that's how my body can wear that. Like how do I tuck my shirt in at the front? Like, having a fupa is a big deal to me, and it's something that has stressed me out for many years, but in the last few years I've been trying to embrace it because it is part of my body. And what does it matter if you can see a tiny little bit of fat?
Yeah.
You know, what does that matter? Anyways, that's off topic. I'm just rambling a lot today.
That's fine.
But my point is I find plus size models, not the models themselves, because they're not doing anything wrong.
No.
I find the industry of plus size modeling toxic.
Yeah.
I find the plus size and body positivity movement on Instagram is becoming toxic. I find that the whole idea of being comfortable in your skin no matter what size you are should not be a toxic situation.
Right.
Because it's not just for fat people, it's not just for skinny people, it is literally for everybody. It doesn't matter what race you are, it doesn't matter what size you are, it doesn't matter what color hair you have, how many limbs you have, none of that matters. And it shouldn't matter, but for some reason, the online communities and the media and the marketers and everybody else is making it toxic by not portraying what's real.
That's how you make money. When it comes down to it.
But wouldn't it be crazy if they actually portrayed what was real and they wouldn't see a drop in...
They'd probably get an increase in sales.
Yeah.
I would bet.
Like, because I know that I shop at Old Navy now way more than I used to since they included their extended sizes, and they've started, like, on their website. If you look at clothes on their website, you can choose what size model you want to see the clothes on. That makes such a big difference to be able to go, I like that shirt, but she's a size 0. So what will that look like on me?
Yeah.
And I shop at Old Navy way more than I used to because of that.
Also, it's the same clothing for every size. So whoever's a small or a 4X, you're wearing the same shirt. Whereas places like Walmart, the plus size section is 3 racks and a wall of sweaters that look like something my grandmother would be wearing. And then the straight size section is like these beautiful blouses and just like really cute stuff that I would want to wear, but I can't.
And to clarify, that's Walmart Canada.
Yeah.
We can't speak for what's happening in the States.
Yeah.
I don't know what their plus size section is like, but I know that in Walmart Canada, or maybe not even Walmart Canada, maybe Walmart Niagara.
Yeah.
Who knows? Because we haven't tried other Walmarts, but specifically the ones that we shop at, like Michelle said, 3 racks, muumuus, stuff our grandparents would want to wear.
Exactly. I think there's this clothing store in the UK called Yours, and we love Yours clothing. Please come to Canada. We would be your first advocates, because not only are their clothes comfortable, they're fairly priced, they're good quality, and I can wear everything in the store regardless of my size. Like, it's... And, like, I remember our first time going, and, like, we're trying stuff on, and the girl knocks on the door, she's like, everything comfortable? And it's like, what? What is your magic witch?
Yeah, because we thought that was so cool. She asked us if everything was comfortable, not does everything fit.
Yeah.
And we were like, it was the first time we went to Scotland, and we just, like, happened upon this store. We're like, what is this? And we're like, oh, that's a cute, oh, it's a plus size store. And we like freaked out. And we were like, oh, I want this and I want this and I want this and I want that. And it was like magic to us in 2016. We were like, we can actually shop at a store that has sizes for us and the clothes are cute. And the sales girl is happy for us and she's asking us if we're comfortable and not worrying about how things fit. And it was just...
And she was also plus size and she looks fantastic. Like, the style of these people,
Yeah.
like, I mean, the UK in general has great style, but like, magic.
And then, so when I lived in Leeds, there was a Yours there as well, which was fabulous for me because, you know, I could fit into Primark when they had XXL versions of clothes, but if a shirt only went up to XL, then I didn't fit into it. So it was literally the only place I could shop for clothes. But it didn't matter because they were super cute. And sometimes that's all that matters. Like, it doesn't matter what size you are. If you go into a store and there's nothing in your size,
it's disheartening. It really is.
Doesn't matter what size you are, it's disheartening.
Yeah.
I had to Google this because I didn't know what it was, so I figured if I didn't know, maybe there's somebody else who doesn't know. So I will read to you the Wikipedia page for Fat Acceptance Movement. The Fat Acceptance Movement, also known as Fat Pride, Fat Empowerment, and Fat Activism, is a social movement which seeks to eliminate the social stigma of fatness from social attitudes by pointing at the social obstacles which are faced by fat people to the general public. Areas of contention include the aesthetic, legal, and medical approaches to people whose bodies are fatter than the social norm. Is there a difference between fat acceptance and body positivity in your mind?
I think so. Being body positive for me now feels like almost a negative thing. Just because of all the chatter around it and I dare say the toxic positivity that goes along with being body positive. I don't know if I like the phrasing of fat acceptance. Like, I don't know.
Well, I think that I remember the first time I said, like, I called myself fat to my mom. This was probably 5 or 6 years ago. She's like, oh, don't say that. I was like, why not? It's true. It's a medical, scientific description of what I am. And other people call me fat anyways. So I might as well just accept that, right? Like, I'm fat. I'm fat, you know? So I'm not against the phrase fat acceptance because fat is just a descriptor, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that might be because I don't have a problem personally with using the word fat to describe myself. Maybe somebody who isn't comfortable with that phraseology would have a problem with that title. I don't know if I think they're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, there's the toxic positivity of body positivity that is not useful. But there's also the part of fat acceptance that's not useful that, you know, like, we do have more medical conditions.
Yeah.
We do have more likelihood of having medical issues or things go wrong because of our size. And we're not trying to deny that.
No.
Like, that is a very real issue. And that is something that we do deal with and that we are working on. But that doesn't also then take away from the fact that, you know, we don't fit into a bus seat as well.
Yeah. I think, like, in terms of, like, the medical stuff, it's more of when we come to you, not all the reasons that things are happening are because we're fat. And that's something we're going to discuss in another video, because we both have different conditions in which our weight is affected. And I'm excited to talk about that one because there's so many people who just assume that you're fat because you eat too much. Truth is, I don't eat a lot.
And yeah, sure, at one point we probably did. Like, not at one point we probably did. We definitely did eat too much. But that was part also of an underlying condition for us. Yeah. Each of us separately. Yeah. As well. So, I don't know. So the phrase fat acceptance, I'm, at this point, I am behind the movement. I would say 75%. 75% behind the movement. What about you?
I haven't really seen anything in terms of like social media stuff about fat acceptance. I literally was just Googling articles and this term came up and I was like, well, this is a new one, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, well, I think about some of the things I've seen like on TikTok or Insta Reels and stuff, that it's like plus size people in airplane seats and the very like extreme comments on those, like, well, you should be buying 2 seats because you take over 2 seats. And then the opposite side, people saying you shouldn't have to buy 2 seats. Planes should be designed to accommodate you.
Yeah.
So it's like there is and then every comment in between, right?
Yeah.
Like there's two very different views in the world about this.
Yeah.
But I also wonder, who is it that's falling into these 2 extremes? Where do the straight size people fall into into the extremes? Where do the plus size people fall into the extremes? I don't know. But the problem is we can't have conversations about these things anymore because everything turns into nasty comments and horrible, just horribleness. Nobody can have an opinion or a conversation about things anymore. It's always, you're wrong, you're disgusting. You know? There's no conversations anymore, which is the problem.
Yeah.
More than fat acceptance or body positivity or any of that, the problem is we can't have conversations. Apparently I'm a boomer. Who knew?
What's the difference between fat and being beautiful? I put this in because there's a comedian, I can't remember her name and I'll find it. But she has this bit and it's like talking about being fat and everyone's like, oh. And she's like, I can feel the tension. She's like, I'm fat.
And they're like, oh, but you're beautiful.
I was like, I didn't say I wasn't, bitch. Like,
yeah.
You can be fat and beautiful. It's not like you're short and people are like, no, you're smart. They're not mutually exclusive.
No, it's totally true. Yeah. There is no difference between being fat and being beautiful. There are skinny people who are ugly, and there are fat people who are ugly, and there are skinny people who are beautiful, and there are fat people who are beautiful. Like, that doesn't have anything to do with it. And I think, to tie it all back, I think what makes somebody truly beautiful is knowing themselves. If you know who you are as a person, and you don't put weight on what other people think of you, it doesn't matter. Right? It just doesn't matter what other people think. You're beautiful. If you feel good, if you feel pretty in that shirt, if you feel like those shoes make you look like a rock star, perfect.
Yay. We're behind you and we support you.
We love you.
We love you. Thank you so much for watching our video. Please keep in mind that we do want to keep this a positive space for everybody. If you enjoyed our discussion and want to be included in further chats, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. You can also follow us on Instagram for even more content or just to reach out and chat. Have a good day. Bye!